The 1.14 Village and Pillage update was released on April 23, 2019, kicking off what can only be described as a new era for the game of Minecraft. Village generation was completely revamped, the crafting system refreshed, and even the iconic textures that for some items had remained untouched since Minecraft Classic were altered. The sweeping changes accompanied a resurgence in popularity and relevance for the game as a whole. But perhaps more importantly for this video, 1.14 became the first version of Minecraft since 1.8 to truly be viable for world record speedruns. Thanks to the new villager trading system, it didn't take long for times in 1.14 to surpass the records set in earlier versions, but the race to beat the game didn't stop there. Hundreds of active runners over the course of the past 3 years dedicated themselves to the discovery of new strategies and the skills needed to execute them to perfection, bringing times down to levels once thought impossible. In a game as RNG dependent and varied in strategy as Minecraft is, it's hard to find one objective measure to quantify a speedrunner's greatness. In all honesty, none really exists, but a runner's combined RSG time, that is the added total of their personal bests in the pre-1.9, 1.9 through 1.15, and 1.16 plus versions of the game, is about as close as it gets. With a recent 1.7 PB of 22 minutes and 37 seconds, Ontricus became just the 5th runner in the history of the game to have a combined RSG of less than 50 minutes. Just to put that in perspective, if you had $1 for every minute of Ontricus's combined RSG time, you'd have less than $50. Long story short, Ontricus is a great, well-rounded player who's incredibly skilled in all aspects of Minecraft speedrunning. And just as importantly, in a game where a good seed makes all the difference, he is dedicated to his craft. He's reset over 275,000 seeds in 1.15 alone in his quest for the world record. That's over 275,000 worlds he's opened up, looked at, and played in for anywhere from a couple seconds to a complete run. If every seed he played was a person, you would need over 275,000 chairs to seat them all. It boggles the mind. Anyway, enough introduction. Let's take a look at one of the most deserved records you'll ever see from one of the greatest runners you'll ever see. Ontricus starts in the middle of a coastal village, which is exactly where you want to spawn when speedrunning version 1.15. Of course, villages can provide many of the resources a runner needs to beat the game all in one place. You've got enough bread in the chests to feed you for the duration of the run, there's usually enough hay to trade for a good portion of the emeralds you need, there are beds to eventually blow up and kill the dragon with, and, most critically, you've got the villagers themselves. The basic structure of a 1.14 or 1.15 speedrun through the years has been as follows. First, you trade a bunch of items with villagers for emeralds. In the past, those items would have been sticks obtained from blowing up trees, but today it's more common to trade wheat with a farmer, gold with a cleric, and find any remaining emeralds you need along the way. You can use all those emeralds to trade for ender pearls with that same cleric villager. Somewhere along the way, you head to the Nether for blaze rods, and then you finally craft your Eyes of Ender and go find the Stronghold. That's a very basic summary, but if you think it seems inefficient to wait around in the village for trades to restock as you try to get pearls, you'd be right. This is where this village being on the coast really comes in handy. The common 1.15 strategy these days, known as hostage strats, is to actually bring the cleric villager along with you in a boat as you travel. Right off the bat, Ontricus notices an ocean monument just off the coast. This is huge news, since the gold blocks contained inside are necessary to get enough emeralds for the run. He gets wood and crafts tools while he takes stock of the situation. What's unfortunate is that there are no shipwrecks in the immediate vicinity, but that won't be too much of a problem, as Ontricus can just kill the iron golem for the ingots he needs to make a pickaxe to mine the monument gold. Since this village generated with a bunch of hay bales, Ontricus is going to trade wheat with the farmer villager. This is called frontloading, that is, trading for a lot of your emeralds at the front of the run, and while it means Ontricus will be spending more time in the village before starting to travel, it usually turns out to be well worth it. It's anyone's guess as to how many emeralds you'll find in ocean shipwrecks, so he might as well take advantage of the opportunity to get easy emeralds while he still can. He quickly trades the wheat with a farmer for 15 emeralds, and then sets off to sea with a different villager, making one last stop in the village to grab an extra bed for blaze bedding. Since this villager has yet to be traded with, Ontricus can give it whatever profession he wants. In this case, he'll eventually use a brewing stand to turn it into a cleric. Ontricus uses his iron pick to mine out the monument gold blocks and then continues on his quest to find shipwrecks. Looking for shipwrecks in the ocean might seem like a game of chance, but in reality, it's anything but. Shipwrecks, like many other structures in the game, generate in a checkerboard region system. They're most commonly found in areas centered on chunk coordinates that are multiples of 16 plus 4. Right now, with chunk coordinates of -24, 5, the nearest wreck has likely generated around the chunk with the x-coordinate -28. Sure enough, that's where it is, and Ontricus ends up getting a huge haul of iron and crafting all the remaining tools he needs, including a shield and a gold shovel. The reason he crafts 2 buckets is for the 1 cycle at the end of the run. In order to place the beds in a spot where they can damage the dragon, they need to be put against a block. Players always use obsidian because it won't be destroyed by the bed explosions, and in newer versions of the game, this can be obtained from bastions. In version 1.15, bastions don't yet exist, and so unless you can get obsidian from a blacksmith, you have to make it yourself with a bucket of lava and a bucket of water. Ontricus starts to move on to the next shipwreck region on his linear progression, briefly stopping to mine gravel for flint with his golden shovel, but then veers off course when confronted with a deep ocean. There's another shipwreck in view, which he loots, but these deep ocean biomes also have magma ravines, the perfect place to build a nether portal, and sure enough, he finds a good one. He quickly constructs his portal, making sure to mine a couple of cobblestone blocks as he goes to use in the brewing stand crafting recipe, and enters the nether. The nether entry time is pretty solid, less than 6 minutes, but the same can't be said for the nether spawn. Ontricus finds himself completely embedded in netherrack. He'll have to dig his way out, a time-consuming process, but luckily the spawner block which shows up on the pie chart gives him some sense of direction as to where the nearest fortress could be. Ontricus smartly crafts a gold pickaxe to save him some time as he mines. That's not sped up footage, by the way. And a little over 7 minutes into the run, he finally reaches the Stronghold. Let's be clear, this nether split up to this point has been nothing special. If anything, it's been downright bad. But that changes when Ontricus goes an astonishing 8 for 9 on blaze rods. These drop rates are pure luck, but the blaze spawn rates were sped up a great deal by his use of a bed to blow up blocks around the spawner and increase the spawnable space. It's a common strategy at this point, but a lot of runners will forego taking an extra bed from the village for the sake of time. In this case, it worked out well, and Ontricus is headed back to the overworld at 9 minutes and 40 seconds with a brewing stand and 7 blaze rods. He puts the brewing stand on the ocean floor beneath the boat with the villager, which is actually close enough for the villager to pathfind to the block and become a cleric. He can then break the stand and keep it in his inventory until he needs the villager to restock. For now, he trades gold for more emeralds, and then emeralds for redstone just to level the cleric up. With the ender pearl trade now unlocked, Ontricus trades for enough pearls to craft 5 Eyes of Ender. Though it in all likelihood won't be enough to fill the portal, it means he can start navigating to the Stronghold while he waits to trade for the rest. With the sun setting, Ontricus sets down a bed and sleeps, allowing the villager to restock overnight. There's a short trading cooldown period after he wakes up, and so during that time, he stops at one last shipwreck, getting 3 more emeralds in the process. Once the minute and 40 seconds are up, he sets down the brewing stand one last time, trading half his gold to the cleric for emeralds. Villagers restock twice a day, so he just waits a few seconds for the gold trade to become available again, and then has all the emeralds he needs to trade for all of his ender pearls. Ontricus is on great pace, without a doubt, but he's not out of the woods yet. After all that trading and exploration, he's got enough ender pearls for 11 total Eyes of Ender, which should be enough to fill the portal, but there's still that 28% chance of a 0 eye, in which case an otherwise incredible run to this point would die on the spot. Luckily for Ontricus and for us, that isn't the case, with 1 eye naturally generating in the portal frame. Ontricus crafts the rest of his eyes, fills the portal, and he's into the end. Again, this run has been incredibly fast to this point, without a doubt, but it's actually not the fastest end enter Ontricus has ever had. This run saw him enter the portal at about 13 minutes and 14 seconds, while a couple months earlier he'd actually reached the end at 13:08. That very promising start was ruined by an extremely slow dragon perch, and you have to imagine that memories of that run have crossed through Ontricus's mind at least once in the last minute or so. It's plain to see that 1.15 has been a category far from its true limit. The skill is there, the strategy is there, the dedication and sheer number of resets are all there. All Ontricus needs is just this once, for the game to cooperate. He bridges over to the main end island, sets up a block of obsidian for the 1 cycle, organizes his hotbar, and then kills an enderman for an ender pearl. Once the dragon starts to perch, he'll teleport in. Until then, all he can do is watch and wait. For the past 3 years, hundreds, if not thousands, of runners have collectively spent countless hours on millions of seeds in this category. Ontricus now has a chance to once again complete the fastest run of them all. And this time, the dragon swoops in towards the portal with enough spare time for Ontricus to make history. 5 beds, 3 axe hits, and then, with just a sliver of the dragon's health remaining, moments from flying away and taking the world record with it, Ontricus lands the final blow. 15 minutes, 1 second. An incredible ending to an incredible run. A huge congratulations to Ontricus on an absolutely incredible record, and a special thanks to both him and Pangomai for all their help and expertise. Check out both their channels in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.